It's time for another rousing session of Lancer, an RPG, the campaign. We legitimately, I swear to y'all, are getting towards the end of this thing. When we last left off, we had met the immovable, what was his name again? I'm playfully pretending
Devlin Stone.
I'm playfully pretending I don't even know his name. It was Devlin Stone, yes.
I literally do not remember though.
Jeff! And we had this really cool epic encounter of this man. What is a man that cannot move? But it turns out I realized that I could move him, and I was really rude. So Quinn, well, not Quinn, Hafsa, who is part of her mech, realized that she could take a hit that would have structured her had Devlin Stone not been thrown 3 feet into the abyss and her moved to where he was originally, so his shot missed. But now...
So, I'd like to just say that last time we all learned a valuable lesson about bottomless pits and Lancer.
Yeah.
So now... Quinn has just uttered this very edgy phrase. A little bit of the old Quinn is coming back, which might warm the cockles of your heart, except it's also a little scary. As she said, immovable object, meet unstoppable force, as she sheathes her spear coolly. And then she stands there for a moment and realizes he's not jetpacking back up. He's, not coming back up screaming to attack her. She is not getting shot, and there's been no consequences for her actions like she was expecting. I'm gonna get shot by a shotgun. He's gonna pop back up behind me. Nothing personal, kid. He's not coming back up, and you hear her say aloud, "Oh no!" And she shoots, and so I think, Sylvia, you wanted to work on this. So,
yeah. So, Sylvia last time... had gotten a sniper's beat on her and was basically getting ready to grapple swing under the bridge because that was the only place she could think of with cover. So as she's grapple swinging down, she just sees Devlin Stone, I think, plummeting in front of her, and Sylvia is going to attempt to basically grab the arm of Devlin Stone's mech long enough for her to give a "come with me if you want to live" speech to him.
Yeah, what we had decided as a joke, I think Jeff or it was you, Fefner, who made the joke that he still can't move. So what actually happened is the literal hex of ground that he was standing on tore out and took him with it.
Yeah, I said that.
Yeah, so that's what is actually happening because he can't be affected by movement normally. Or involuntary movement normally. Just glitch time says yes, you can. So Quinn shoots out her Ferris Slash because she also has one of those. And instead of hooking him, because she knows that won't work, she saw Dad try that. She hooks the ground underneath his feet and catches him. And it's just like he bungee cords, right? Alice, and lands just right there where he could see Sylvia's outstretched hand.
Yeah, I think you guys. Are managed to basically capture his actual cockpit pod.
Yeah.
And he is just kind of stuck in this situation.
It's Quinn groans out. Help me reel this guy up, you two, please.
As soon as y'all have. As y'all work together to get control of him and pull him back up, you notice the pod actually does have, some jets on it and stuff. He does not activate anything.
Yeah. She, with their help, with, I'm assuming Isadora at the minimum, maybe even Bryn's help, they put him back up on the bridge, right? And then...
There's not much the gold rod can do, so yeah, it's just gonna act as a counterweight.
Yeah, let me rejoin us play. I just realized I've been sitting in the wrong map for a moment, but now we're here. So they pull him back up onto the bridge, right? Quinn will take a step back because she's now occupying the spot he was in, right? And set him back on the spot he was on where there's ground, and then step back and very awkwardly pat his shoulder and say, I'm sorry. That was, out loud to him. right? That was incredibly, incredibly dishonorable and rude of me, and you did not deserve that. I don't know what got into me. And then she'll just drop her hands, like, and step back further.
So Devlin Stone, out of his pod now, probably like on the bridge itself, will just sort of like look between you, realize like he is definitely fucked here, and gruffly asking you to identify yourselves. He doesn't have any way of actually doing it electronically. He's just yelling at you.
Yeah, Quinn looks to the rest of you all and then looks back and says, "Dad, we're the Hex Girls International Terrorists now, I think, right?"
That's what the news says.
Her mech cockpit open, like,
It'd be
pops her head out, points her...
Sorry.
I didn't mean to cut you off there. Sylvia pops her cockpit, gets out, points her sidearm at him, and goes, we're the Hex Girls, and we are kidnapping you to end a war. Hi!
It's not exactly gonna be that easy, Quinn says very tiredly. But yeah, we're making an attempt at stopping war for a period of time that I hope is longer than like a year.
So also, like, the way she's talking, it sounds give a choice. You don't. You're coming with us. So get in the cockpit.
Yeah, Isadora just motions. Motions to her mech.
The frame standing behind her, like, folds her arms across her chest, because Quinn also got out of the mech, right, to stand person to person with him. So this guy, I don't know how tall he is, but he can see, like, this. She's very pale now. She's got like red, like, she's got those type bags under her eyes. This girl looks like she has not. She just looks wretched. She's wasted, just standing in front of him. This girl who knocked him off the edge. She's clearly just this noodly, pallid, like, frail 16-year-old girl just standing in front of him. He might not even recognize her, even if he knew a Quintessence stature Riesling at this point. But she'll walk with him, right? Like, she'll walk at his side, over to their custody, and she like mumbling to him like, "We're warriors, and I should have treated you like a fellow warrior."
Sylvia's just mouthing, "No, you shouldn't have."
He kind of brusquely nods and kind of he's obviously waiting for something. You have Rhea with you, correct?
We do have Rhea with her, and we also have Noel with a Theris latch. So if he does do like a Vader, grab the 16-year-old girl and throw her into the abyss, see how you like it, it's not going to go well for him. He could still do it if he wants to.
Well, he doesn't. All he's got is a ornamental sword and a sidearm. And which you know enough from experience to know that this thing would probably not be great against your Heartsuit. Mm-hmm. Rhea will approach him, and he will stiffly offer her his sword.
Yeah.
And as she kind of goes there, she says to you quietly, "Actually, it may be easier to end this specific conflict than you'd expect. Once she has his sword, she will clear her throat and ask him, Devlin Stone, as you are now in my custody, I have accepted your personal surrender. I will ask you to tell your men on Arcturus to stand down." He grimaces at her and then kind of just looks back to the mechs he has, like, are the other mechs in this big chamber have all stopped. Like,
they're probably just stunned, but yeah.
Yeah, they're stunned, waiting. Like, they don't know what to do here because they try to fire, they might kill him instantly. You notice he's not wearing a hard suit.
Mm-hmm.
This man went in full ceremonial dress, which you've not really seen any common front people do. This is not normal for them.
No, Quinn's seen one Deliverance person do that, so she's gazing past him, right?
Yeah. He kind of grimaces at her as like, you have personal custody over me, but that doesn't mean you have personal custody over what I do outside of not escape. I thought you would remember that. Why should I? My personal safety, as you might notice, is not my chief concern. I am not concerned with whether or not I live, so long as the fortress lives. You know why I did this. It will continue without me, or try to. If you are good enough to overcome it, if you are strong enough to overcome it, then you did not need it. And if you are not, then you absolutely did. He actually, like, points at, he'll kind of, like, gesture kind of flippantly at you guys and be like, or perhaps you have enough resources to find mercenaries. Mercenaries? Really? Is that what the Common Front does now? Mercenaries? That sounds like something
traveling adventurers at this point.
You know, that feels really dismissive of
I am incredibly dismissive. He looks. Are you out of your mech, or are you still in the mech?
Yeah, I'm out of it.
Okay. Looks at you. Bryn may not have been in the fleet for a while. I feel like Bryn's got a little bit of the bearing of, like, that sort of ingrained bearing.
Yes, he did. He absolutely does.
He does recognize you. He does recognize you. It says to you, perhaps I should be giving this sword to you, as you did as your outfit has done all the actual fighting. He gives Rhea a side eye. But yes, I do not hold mercenaries in particularly high esteem. Money is the least important thing one can fight over.
Well, perhaps if you knew more about us, you would know that doesn't generally our motivating factor. But I don't need to convince you of this. I guess what I would ask you is, are you? I mean, we can continue this fight for as long as it takes, I guess. But is it really worth the loss of life on either side of this? What's inevitably there will be more and more casualties as this thing drags on. Are you willing to bet the lives of your men that they can hold out long enough to achieve whatever ends that you want?
You misunderstand me. My ends are met either way. I wanted to. Do you know what is coming? Bryn, was it? Bryn's. He, like, stumbles over your name for a bit.
Brynza.
Brynza. Thank you. I've only read it, unfortunately, not actually heard it. Do you know what's happening? Yes, the general war is beginning to wind down, I guess you could say.
Because Jeff does not know. Can I do a roll to see if Bryn knows, so I can, like, cut him off?
Yeah, actually.
Yeah, please do.
Yeah, actually. Let me think. What pilot check would help you with that?
This would be a read a situation. Read a situation
either
background,
or since he's a military leader, inspire could work.
Yeah, leader, full rank. Yeah.
Give me whichever one of those is higher here. Just need it.
Yeah. I use my background since I was in the military.
Yes, you absolutely can.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, there we go.
26.
Holy shit,
Yes.
there we go.
Bryn, when he says, "Do you even know what's going on here?" and he starts talking about the general war kind of winding down, you recall you've been keeping up with everything, right?
Yeah, he Brandon watches a lot of news. Like that's his like entertainment generally. Also, so like he keeps up on stuff and he just tries to stay informed.
Brandon, the kind of man who leaves CNN on in the other room.
Basically, yes. Yeah.
And with what you know, what you remember, you realize that you do know what he's referring to. Everyone fighting right now is fighting in the shadow of the Blink Gates opening.
Mm-hmm. You
know as much as anyone else that kind of like what everyone's kind of nervous about right now, the big unknown in Overture, besides the obvious ones like war and whether Deliverance or the Common Front or Boundless will come out on top or whatever, is the fact that Overture is about to get reconnected to the rest of the human sphere. You've read enough to know, and you kind of like you have a sense of like the logistics of this. Overture has technology, right? You guys have got access to stuff that's not that far behind what Union, the Carrick and Trade Baronies, all that have. But boy, is the industrial base of Overture minuscule comparatively. You know that in a very real sense, Overture is about to have the door open to a world of titans. Bigger and more vast than they perhaps are ready for.
Yeah, it's like the big fist, the small pond thing, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And you instantly realize that's what he's talking about.
Yeah.
He's talking about the big fish in a small pond.
Will we be able to keep our own autonomy? Will we be able to, have our own rulership? Or is the Union just going to come in and, be like, whatever?
Or, Little Harrison was bad enough. What about Big Harrison?
Yeah.
The real thing. Or do you cut him off or do you let him finish his sentence?
I'll cut him off in the way with all due respect, I do understand, and then say it. Then you
know that we're all about to get steamrolled. That's what I wanted to prevent, Brinza.
I'm sorry, but can I get a rewind on what you just said? And Sylvia stands up from her mech. You started a war so that we wouldn't get absorbed because you were hoping whoever wins is strong enough to keep our autonomy.
Yes.
Man, you should have been doing this about 100 years ago, and you should have started by blowing up the Blink Gate if that was what you wanted.
Well,
this is stupid.
We all can't go back in time, man. I had the time.
Quinn has to cover her mouth and muffle the laughter, and she also steps away from this guy and Noel will stand behind him with her arms crossed across her chest, like she could fling him off here at any time she wanted. So whatever, and Quinn will go stand next to Sylvia and just kind of support her a little because she knows the bodysuit still works well, but just wants to make sure Sylvia can present herself the best and lean against her a little.
Literally pat Quinn on the shoulder with one of her tertiary arms.
Let me ask you the disto question then, Alice.
Yeah.
So, looking at the state of things now, has it gotten worse, or are those ends kind of getting moved towards?
Well,
realistically, from a military sense.
The Confederation of the Core is definitely doomed. They still have lots of holdouts and lots of people fighting, but also they're all cut off from each other.
Mm-hmm.
They're doomed. They might take a while, but if he does not tell people to stand down, they will absolutely lose, but it will take forever.
They'll fight to the last.
Yeah, they probably will fight to the last. Devon Stone was wildly popular among the veterans of his many conflicts with warlords out in the periphery of Overture. You know that the blink gates are probably even if the original blink gates don't get fixed. I mean, Harrison has started to recognize that Overture is close enough for us to get to now, and it's kind of inevitable. If Harrison drops its actual battle groups here, it will be something the likes of which Deliverance thought they were cool with the Planet Wrecker, and that's not something that the outside world has. But the sheer mind-numbing volume of what the rest of humanity can bring to bear, you don't actually know how much they could. You just know it's a lot.
And you might know.
Specifically, my question is: so
okay.
This the way the
are we in a
conflict
better or a worse place as a result of his actions?
Yes, that's what I'm
as
asking.
keeping our autonomy would be.
Because, like, as far as I understand, like, we've had these factions beating the shit of each other for like a while, and they're all getting strung thin a little bit. And are we really any better off?
Because you did, I mean, you got over 20 here. I'm going to go ahead and give you the answer is complicated. Think about how the factions have changed. The Common Front went from not having a military to having a standing fleet that you actually saw.
And they're actually trained soldiers now instead of just like, gun nuts, gun nut yahoos.
Yeah, instead of being like organized along militia cadres and parts in union lines, they have an actual standing military. Deliverance ended up with wanting to attack the Common Front directly, and ended up in this weird position where, like, there's another state that they have a complicated relationship basically in their backyard, and caused all kinds of trouble for them. Boundless if you look at the map that we use sometimes, Boundless kind of couldn't advance into the core without running into just a solid wall.
Fefner reposted the map to me recently. I did say, yes, that's perfect, Fef, if you wanted to share it in the chat.
Oh, it's the main map, if you want to,
Here you go.
Yeah,
You put it in! Nice,
Yeah.
so you can see. Yeah.
So, like...
Oh, let me zoom out.
So the answer to your question is, if he had succeeded in killing Cormdir, he probably could have done to this galaxy kind of what he wanted to.
Mm-hmm. But instead, if his faction keeps fighting to less man...
Instead, he made one faction a little better at fighting and also destabilized all of them.
Mm-hmm.
This plan probably could have worked if he had done it better, and you guys hadn't been around. But no, it's not.
Then I'm gonna literally say that to him. Like, well, if your plan had worked out, and several, I guess, happenstance hadn't happened to things in the galaxy, that probably would have worked. But where we are now, if your faction fights to the last man, then if someone from Unispace does show up, and we'll be weaker than we started at because we'll be too busy fighting each other.
Yeah.
It'd be truly a unified front at this point. And militarily, you see me on the back foot now. Then what happens when those blink gates open? What happens with that big one that we found out isn't actually destroyed? It can be fixed. What happens if someone decides to boot that thing back up because they have their own?
We'll actually cut you off here. When you mention the blink gate, you already know that, like, you investigated it and that it's actually way easier than people think it is to fix. He'll cut you off. Excuse me. You have been to the blink gate.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was full of snakes.
the Emerald Gate.
It really was full of snakes. That wasn't a joke.
I don't know what to do with that.
It's worse.
You said it could be fixed.
Yeah.
It's not. It was from what we saw. It was purposefully turned off and parts were dismantled, but it was not destroyed. So it's actually a lot more straightforward to fix it and get it back working again than anyone currently thinks on the public.
And Quinn,
It's just under IPSN security, so nobody goes near it.
And Quinn
What?
looks, yeah, and Quinn holds up a finger, and she looks to all of you, like, for permission, and then she says, it's worse. Deliverance is making its own blink gate.
No, that can't be true. I have too many operatives in Deliverance space. They would have told me by now.
Quinn,
Oh, that's adorable!
yeah, Quinn can't react like that because she wants to be respectful to this guy, but you can see her restraining, like restraining the also laugh. Welcome to being.
Is your name Devlin Stone, Mr. Stone? I don't know what you've been doing this whole time, but you need to get off planet more.
You see him, like, he looks genuinely stricken. Like, he takes his hands and kind of puts them at his temples, like, sort of like migraine look on his face. It's like, no. They're not supposed to be that far along. That was a plan supposed to take them years more. This war was supposed to make that plan unworkable for at least a decade.
They found.
And back up. You said IPSN already has control of the actual blink gate?
Yeah.
Like,
they can't turn it back on, but I don't think. But
Well, they probably could. They just don't want to. Probably because it would attract unwanted attention. But yes, the companies did secure the Emerald Gate.
Deliverance stumbled across this unique living material on a planet in this system that has unprecedented amount of power and weird energy within it, and they've been mining it out, and it really jumped them ahead into being able to do this kind of stuff.
do you explain that? Do you explain a little bit about that to him?
That she says that much because she doesn't know if this guy's a friend or foe, right? But also this is information her kin don't know yet, so she's using this as an opportunity for people to learn. And she also looks over at you all and she says, I took some time with Null back before I was kidnapped. There's a whole solid state drive of a gargantuan size inside of her, locked away by encrypted passwords. And I was able to guess a couple of them, but some of them I can't figure out. I think you can guess who it is that put them there. There's so much information in there. I have a lot to tell you all.
I understand what's happening now.
Yeah, Sylvia just looks at Stone and goes like, so, to recap, we're all in a state of panic right now, and if you don't call off this war yesterday, the only way to fix your problems really will be to go back in time.
And there's only one person capable of doing that.
Yeah,
cut her off. Yeah. And who? She stops when she says, and she says,
and Sylvia just goes like, not anymore.
Yeah. She says, well, what she'll say is, and theirs, and then Quinn cuts her off, and she says, there's nobody who can do that. That's impossible.
Quinn, can you give me a read a situation?
Yeah, let me do a read a situation roll. Quinn's read a situation, I finally gave her some. You all remember? She used to not have it as a thing. Because I was like, there's no way this woman would ever self-analyze herself.
Here we go. Give it to us.
Please watch me. Oh, wow. Hey.
Wow, the exact same roll I had.
Yeah, same roll. Like father, like daughter.
Quinn looks at this man and realizes that she has told him something he has feared hearing for she doesn't know how long. The terror in his reaction is genuine.
It's like all his bluster just gone.
Yeah.
Like
Everything.
Suddenly.
He had been prepared to go out defiant to the end. And all it took to break him was to show him how much he didn't know. He has to steady himself on his pod. And he tells you he'll do it. And he tells you a story.
Oh gosh. She'll sit down for this and give him her full attention.
He will before he starts, he'll go ahead and he will He actually did have a communicator on him, in his kind of his back pocket, and he will call the the installation to ceasefire, and be on standby. He tells you a story. I'm going to give you the abridged version. 20 years ago, Devlin Stone and a much younger Rhea Tavros were on the fringes of what is now the Common Front space. Back in those days, these places were more lawless. It was an age. It was kind of this time of heroes, like ragtag Common Front, like Syndiquist Lancers were like just a handful of them were liberating worlds from tyrants and then just moving on. Or like sometimes you just have them like they'd show up to planets and have like basically they were kind of a cross between Ronin and like mechanics. During this time, Devlin Stone met someone who was fleeing westward across the galaxy, if you will. And that's how he first heard about Deliverance. And what he heard scared him deeply. He knew what the Common Front was like. He knew that they would be very bad at handling anything like this. They'd never seen anything like this. The Common Front was a squabbling mess of networks of mutual aid that sometimes forgot each other existed. For 20 years, he had been preparing. He doesn't use the word coup, but it's basically a coup.
Mm.
To turn the middle of Overture into a kind of fortress republic. Something about which no one could get through and no one could overcome. To keep, not only because he hoped that it would keep the Common Front and Deliverance apart from each other, but because if they tried and failed, he would be in a position to unite them against, not only unite them, but also stop them from being overrun by whatever came out of the Blinkgate. Because that was when he first heard that some of the early sort of elements of Union and Harrison and IPSN from outside of Overture had started making their appearance known. He has been doing this because part of the reason he started this war was because he thought he was going to keep them from making any of the Deliverance, from making the things that they made. Or from the Common Front being attacked in the way it already has been. This guy is broken.
You got outplayed, and I'm so sorry that you were left out of the loop.
I'm kind of impressed you missed Deliverance firing up the planet cracker, but
I didn't miss that one. I thought that, well, frankly, I was preparing to do something about it myself, and then she does a little motion like a poof, like
that was us.
Yeah, that was us.
We led that assault.
I have to thank you then. I had been in the middle of putting together what few ships I had and trying to make peace with the fact that I didn't think I could do it anymore.
Do you know about the demons?
The what?
They called them demons, not by their true name. The people on that planet with the material I told you about?
He shakes his head. I had heard that both Boundless and Deliverance had been experimenting with exotic materials, but
The Black Sheep Kovanen, what version of her story do you know?
I know the truth, namely, or at least what I know to be the truth.
Which Grimace is at that. He clearly doesn't know the truth. But go on.
He'll tell you that what he knows about Kovanen and Deliverance's relationship is that, from his point of view, Kovanen was a successful rebel guerrilla fighter who was co-opted by Deliverance. He has actionable intel, or he had actionable intel that said that she was probably willing to turn traitor, but he was never able to find a way to actually act on it.
Yeah, or communicate to her in any way.
Yeah, it was basically confirmed rumor, and there was nothing he could do about it.
Well,
he never has actually had anyone tell him 100% it was true until now.
Wow, yeah. We did that too.
Yeah, yeah, that was true. She was willing to turn traitor, but not originally. Come on, I think we have a lot of catching up to do, but I'm not sure how much we can tell you. I'm not sure whose side you're going to be on.
I don't think, if what you've told me is true, it might be time for me not to be on any side. He reaches to his waist where his pistol is.
Don't like at that.
And he raises it like, no, I'm not. Don't worry. He undoes the actual belt, his pistol belt, with it on it, and holds it out. And with the other hand kind of up, it's like, whatever else. I need to see what you know and what you can tell me. But before I do that, I have asked my men here to stand down. I do not have the capacity from this standing here to do much more. If you bring me to a relay, I will do as you ask. Here is my pistol. I am disarmed. You may check me if you wish.
Yeah, Bryn will take his thing, solemnly, and kind of like he kind of nod at Sylvia.
Bryn, you served with the Union Navy, didn't you?
Yep.
Yes, I was a captain.
You recognize this? You recognize this firearm? This is an ancient firearm. This thing is a pistol from a couple hundred years ago. During Second Com, it was a standard Union Navy sidearm for officers. Nowadays, it's a collector's item. This is basically like having a space Luger. You don't know where the fuck this guy found this thing, but it is incredibly rare. He will absolutely surrender himself to you guys.
Yeah, speaking of, he wanted a relay, so I rolled a hacker fix for that, so Isadora will be able to patch him through as soon as she is physically able. I'd also like to point out, I also rolled an 18 plus 6 like the last two people. I just didn't have background to add.
God, that rules.
So it's 24.
What is going on with Roll20 today?
That is weird.
All right, hold on. Next time I do a roll, we need to just all take a deep breath.
I want to jokingly, because it was happening during Clash of Clans. You fixed it. Okay. But you're especially cursed. But yeah, I was going to say, that weird pressure from the Clash of Clans episode is back, and that's why we're all rolling the same roll.
That was so well timed.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, okay. If you could set him up a relay, Devlin Stone will send a wide message to whatever bastions the Fortress Republic has left, telling them to stay their arms. They are to sit tight and wait for. He looks to you. Who should they surrender to?
So, Quinn looks to Rhea, and beckons her close and gets in a huddle with her and the rest of the Hex girls. And she says, the truth is, from how I'm seeing things right now, from what I've learned, Rhea, the most united force we have is the force that we created with Svava and you and Boundless, like the factions that broke off from there, the Liberation Front. But they don't have a leader because they're kind of anarchist. So what do we do? She's whispering this to Rhea and Bryn and Sylvia, etc.
Sylvia just kind of looks and goes like, it might be easiest just to have them surrender to the Common Front for now, because I don't know if we even have enough ships to accept all of their surrenders or oversee it.
Well, the Liberated Front's forces are focused elsewhere, and they can't send. If they move to come accept these people's surrender, they'll lose ground and they'll lose their strategic positioning. Yeah.
She suggests that is Boundless still being puppeted by IPSN?
No. Boundless has autonomy.
Okay. She'll suggest to you that those worlds that are those holdouts that are closest to Boundless could surrender to Boundless as a show of goodwill, and those that are close to the Common Front do so to her, to the Common Front, and she pauses as like, also we should probably tell them not to surrender to any passing deliverance flotillas.
Yeah, well, what Quinn says is she'll audibly vocalize that she's a little nervous about that, because it was Boundless that negotiated the nap in the first place, and Boundless, the more insidious parts of Boundless have been trying to position themselves to be the big unifier that he was also trying to be. Surrender to the Garrote.
She has an idea.
Oh, to the clans! Oh my god, surrender to the clans. Yeah,
I was about to say.
They actually, I think the lightning bulb shines on top of their heads at the same time, right?
They both finger guns at each other.
Yeah.
They can
I absolutely forgot we had another Militarized faction voting out there. Yahoo!
And on top of that, she could also have. They could destroy whatever they can't carry with them, and which will be most of it. And what they cannot bring with them, what the clans cannot take, the clans cannot take the garrisons destroy. So nobody gets their hands on these huge stockpiles and these fortified worlds, so that Boundless Deliverance or even the Front cannot basically inherit they can't inherit the tyrant's martial wealth. Nobody gets it. It's all blown up.
And Quinn, smiling, will look from Lyra to Devlin Stone and say, I feel like your honorable, noble style of combat, if Lyra is any indication of the kind of people amongst my found family and the clans, will fit right in with them.
I know the clans. I respect the clans. 20 years ago, we had a lot more dealings with them. Yes, I can tell them to surrender to the clanners. If you promise they'll show up in a year or so, or less, hopefully, I can do that.
Quinn looks over at Isadora and says, can your wife figure out the closest way a clan person can get here?
She might delegate it, but yeah, I'd imagine if I just contact any of them, they'll get on that.
Mm-hmm.
Besides, don't 2 or 3 of us still have a running promise of aid from...
Oh yeah! Why don't we burn that promise of aid to just get a clanner to show up? I'll burn mine because I wanted to use mine narratively to stop Quinn from going ultra berserk, and I don't know if that will happen again.
Yes, I'll absolutely let you do that.
Yeah.
You were all given, as part of that, you were all given actual little, basically panic boxes.
Yeah.
You actually toy with yours, and there is a signal just at the farthest reaches of where this beacon can be read, that is in fact a clan mothership.
I think The message Quinn will send. Oh, you finish first. Sorry.
And when you kind of ping to see if anyone's there, it pings back at you, waiting for a message.
Yeah. So the message Quinn sends is, "Come accept the surrender of honorable soldiers, whose ideals were misplaced, and put them to good use." Brother, cousin.
You get the most garbled Conan the Barbarian fucking shit ever. You take psychic damage, but you are pretty sure that it says okay.
Yeah. She'll hand it over. She'll face it to Lyra and be like, "Wow, your people have their own weird coded language too." Amazing.
No.
Somebody just goes like, "Bondsman means something different than I think it means, right?"
A bondsman is complicated, but these are Jade Falcons. They are stupid, but they're not. Okay, they are kind of the worst, but they'll do what you ask them to do. Quinn.
Yo.
Tell them bondsmen are not a part of the deal.
Yeah, Quinn.
They will try to weasel out of it. They are the worst.
Yeah, Quinn messages them and says, bondsmen are not part of the deal, and then she'll add, like, if you get Weasley about this, please, I'm so tired.
They spend this is all text, by the way. There is a pause, and when you get back, it's basically Navy SEAL copy pasta levels of stupidity, where they assure you that not only do they assure you they will not take bondsmen, they are offended that you would call them weasels when they are obviously falcons of the finest shade. How dare you? What
did you say about me, you little shit? I'll have you know.
There are multiple bachelors specifically for you, and also a sort of like, at the end they're like, and also okay.
I'm sure this is the best plan we could have possibly come up with.
They're fucking Tellarites. Quinn just like lays on the floor, right? Sylvia with a groan. And maybe I should have let Lyra write the message.
Sylvia just looks at it and is like, probably that would have been smart, but actually this is way funnier, so I'm okay with it.
You'd think that. You really would, but I also hate Jade Falcons the most, and I would probably have fought them anyway. And we would be here a long time as I continue to fight them.
Every night?
Once they arrive, let's accept them and then get out of here before you get drunk and start throwing punches.
I will promise that I will not fight any Jade Falcons. And by that I mean I will stay inside and not see anyone.
What extremely specific wording. We're definitely leaving before you drink and start throwing punches on technicalities.
Or
I will
start
stay
throwing punches
inside of my room and I will not do any violence to any Jade Falcon. Despite the fact that I wish to deeply, and it is my right as a human being.
We can do this by later.
Specifically for you.
Thank you, Auntie. Dad, help me up. I'm so tired. Why am I so tired? And she'll slump against him and close her eyes.
Probably because you're a teenager who's been through months of combat.
Yeah, I wanted everybody to know. Last time we checked in, it was December. It's February now.
Aren't you... if you are tired, it might be that it is time for you to go to bed.
Yeah.
You are technically still growing, after all. I mean, mostly.
Sleep has been hard. Let's get back to the Aetolith. Devlin Stone, if I can wrest some semblance of the world my wife and I dreamed of, let's duel again.
He will hand you, he's actually got some medals on him that are actually from his service with the Common Front that he actually got from the Frontier Worlds. Some of them gave him doodads that he had made into medals. He gives you one that is it looks like a little planet with a scroll around it with Latin words. Would Quinn know? Would Quinn potentially have had access to anything that know Latin?
Considering the fact that almost every city, state, and the important place on her homeworld was named after Latin because, named something Latin because her dad is a fash. Yes.
You know what? That is extremely fair.
Her bio dad. Sorry, Bryn. Her bio dad is fash. So yes.
I understood. He wouldn't say anything.
Her bio dad is fash. So yes, she knows Latin. Though if this has, she knows fash Latin, right? She knows all the Latin words that fash like to use.
You might recognize what it is, but not what it says right now.
So there might be some not fash words on here, and she wouldn't know those.
So this looks like basically like a little challenge coin.
Mm-hmm.
You've seen these before because Quinn's dad definitely has a couple of these.
Mm-hmm.
Mercenaries love these too. So
Mercenaries love these too. It says it's a little planet on it and little stars around the planet. It says ad securitas per unitas. You know enough Latin to know that there are two ways to read this. One is liberty through unity, and the other one is security through unity.
Mm-hmm.
That this is an old saying for the idea of people are stronger together, basically.
Mm-hmm.
He gives you this and tells you when it all blows over, if it does, I'd be happy to have that tool.
She smiles raggedly and pockets it. And another time, another me would have been so thrilled to have received this. I don't want medals or accolades anymore.
It's not a medal. Just think of it as my business card.
She laughs and she gestures to the rock, right, that they reeled them up on. That's my business card. And then she goes back to the Adalith with some help.
And Ray will take him into custody, and unless you guys want to ask him anything specific, he will probably she'll give him a edited a pad with edited version of the stuff you guys know.
Yeah, the actual enough of the info to convince him is actually true, right?
And leave him to his own devices under watch.
Quinn will actually supply actual codified evidence that's actually there that she dug out of Null's. That she was able to extract from that solid state hard drive on Null that's locked away. And actual physical evidence that not only are we saying this shit, but it's true. It's clearly not doctored. This is clearly real shit.
Yeah, unless you guys have anything specific you want to say to him, that is... He is going to spend a little time reading that, and it's probably not going to be in any mood to do anything but lie down.
Yeah. We receive the Jade Falcons and hand them over and then leave before Lyra starts any fights.
Real quick note, of course, we did have to take the Alice Lynn here because the Adalith was too big a ship. We wanted to be more covert, so
that's right.
At the moment, the Adalith is basically just coming in this direction, and we'll meet with them. But we're probably going to want to be in Deliverance space anyway, considering the situation.
Yeah, I'm actually about to talk to you all about the situation. But before that, Quinn says, I need to talk to all of you, my family, assuming we're still family, about what I found in those memory banks that Null can't access because she was shackled when they were locked away, and so she wasn't in a position where she could know what was being done to her, so she doesn't know the passwords. I was able to guess a couple of them because the person who put those files there was me, but some of these are so encrypted and their passwords I can't think of. But I need to tell you what I found out. But I need to get some rest, so let me sleep for
that can wait
hours?
For tomorrow. It's fine.
I don't know.
Sylvia just literally goes, go to bed!
Yeah, I don't think anything in there is actionable that we need to know in the next 12 hours, otherwise we're fucked. So,
I hope so. Yeah,
Go to
I'll
bed.
see you in 12 hours. Yes,
Go to
Dad.
bed.
Okay. Yeah.
He's like pushing her into a room.
She says, "You are my real dad," and just like crashes into
He
bed.
just closed the door.
Yeah.
So we do have this slight downtime. I should mention, since we haven't met with the Adolith, we're not having a long rest, only a short rest.
Yep.
So just throwing that out there as well.
Hit that button.
What I will say is, it is established. We did it. Like, that's the one thing that Null will say. She'll look at Sylvia and say, "Look, one permanent good thing. It can be done. You did it. One permanent thing. Don't think I didn't hear you when you said that."
Sylvia just shrugs and goes like, "Well, give it time.
No, yeah, permanent.
I'll believe it I'll believe it when we win."
Like, Noel's expression is wry, and she says, "The sad thing about permanency is over the span of time it becomes temporary."
Yep.
And
Nothing's permanent. Life isn't permanent.
then Noel, folds her, settles in, crouches down, and, she looks to all of you. And, she says, "I do have bad news, but it's not as bad as I think you're going to think it is, because it doesn't really change much. But," she brings up, because while we're down in battle, Bryn can't watch CNN all the time. But Noel still can. So Noel brings up the recording of that fucking reporter that was on the Flavor Town, right, when it was being taken over. And she's reporting in new news, okay, that Quintessence Stature Riesling has been working with Deliverance in the was been working with terrorist forces and had been a planted Deliverance this entire time.
Bryn puts up his hand and is like, I kind of figured that out about half an hour ago when we were talking to Stone.
Yep. And they have all these recordings of Quinn, and that's future Quinn.
Mm-hmm. So we can only assume then that they have information that they would have had at the end of the war and other loops at this point.
Yep.
Possibly the results of several loops, because this could have happened more than once.
Yep.
Which is why they're so far ahead in those gates.
Cool.
Well, guess we have to go assassinate future Quinn again if she shows up.
Well, at this point the damage is done. Well, we can, but
we can stop the damage, and that's the thing. Noel says, that's what I wanted to talk to all of you about without Quinn here, and then we will talk about it with Quinn here, because I agree with you, Sylvia. We will not be keeping her out of the loop on this. I want to go. I know what she wants. She wants two things. She wants Hafsa back, and she wants me. I'm going to go assassinate her. But I'm not taking Hafsa with me, because then she takes Hafsa away from her wife. Hafsa and I have already talked about it. She's over being separated from her wife. So I'm going to upload the consciousness of her onto one of you. And, she looks over at Sylvia, no offense to the rest of you, but of all of you, sister, I hope I can call you sister, you are the one who fights the most like us, and you are the one who has survived the most bullshit. Of any of us, I've done the calculations. You are the most likely to walk out of any situation still alive and get Hafsa back to her wife.
And Sylvia just kind of turns and looks at the rest of you and goes like, "Does everyone else agree with that assessment? Because right now I am pretty sure that I should have died 5 times by now."
Isadora repairing her twice blown up mech, or twice structured mech rather.
I mean, that is how
you're probably good.
I mean, that is how they prefer to fight. Both, actually. So it seems fitting. Also, it's probably not a good idea to put it with me, frankly, because I am very bad at things that are not mechanical.
Whichever one of you, I feel the most suitable source to hold on to Hafsa's consciousness is Sylvia. But whichever of you feel is most apt, I will send her with you. Because I am not taking her with me, just in case Quinn Prime has some sort of trick to shackle me again. But if that's the case, Hafsa and I have made a connection, and if she does get her grips on me again, As soon as you get Hafsa close enough to me, she can break me free again. This isn't just about keeping Hafsa away from Quinn. It's about making sure that I don't stay enslaved for another however long.
You know, as soon as she says that, I think that's the trigger for Sylvia. She just stands up and goes like, you know what? I sympathize. Let's fucking do it.
So who's taking her? She trusts all of you implicitly.
Yeah, Sylvia will absolutely do it if no one else volunteers.
So she says, hold up where you want this data stored. Like, where are you putting it?
Sylvia thinks about it for a minute and goes like,
doesn't your mobility suit have like an actual
I was about to say
system?
that. Sylvia basically kneels down, pulls down the collar of her shirt so you can see the spine implants on her mobility suit and goes like, see if you can upload it here, because this way, even if I get shot in the head, there's still a chance for her to make it back.
Let's not. You better survive. That's from her. That's her speaking. It says,
no, I am absolutely planning to survive, but I can't guarantee I'll be conscious.
So Noel uploads the consciousness that she backed up of Hafsa onto that, and there's just enough space. You get the space warning, right? Of you at 99.99%.
Giant mnemonic. It's like that.
Yeah, you're at 99.99% of your file storage space. You can buy an upgrade to your Dropbox to increase. You get that notification.
Sylvia just rolls her eyes like, God damn it, I built this shit.
Didn't jailbreak it though, apparently.
So we have established Sylvia is very bad at specifically software, so actually, once it's uploaded, she'll just go like, so will there be any way for me to communicate with Hafsa if we need to?
Oh, she should be able to talk to you through that using simple communications. She can probably just put them into your mech helmet, because she will not want Quinn to hear her voice, and you two can talk and debate over where you stand on this. But you should actually have a talk with Quinn, because I had a talk with Quinn, and this is why I'm doing this. Quinn wants to give her one last chance. Noel looks up. I don't want to give her any more chances. I can't even calculate how many chances Quinn Prime has had.
Isadora nods.
That's about where I think I stand as well.
And Noel says, and of all of us, I am the one most capable of getting close enough to her to actually land the strike. And that means we don't have to deal with more bullshit.
And I must stress, I am actually not happy about the idea of you getting hurt while doing this. There is one thing I can give you. Do y'all remember the Atlas?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, Sylvia basically scrapped her Atlas to make the parts for her mobility suit, but that means one piece of it never actually got accounted for.
Mm-hmm.
When you get an Atlas license, they give you a bespoke kind of master-crafted Terashima blade.
Nice, yeah.
Which is big enough for use on mech-scale opponents, but small enough you can kind of, with effort, drag it around as a puny human person. And Sylvia literally goes into the closest personal hangar she has access to. If we can't get there right now, she'll just show a picture of it and kind of give Noel instructions on where to find it.
Mm-hmm.
But basically she offers that and goes like, I don't have the license for it anymore, so the software to enhance your, motions isn't available, but that is a master-crafted Terashima blade, and it will slice through anything like butter.
I feel like not having access to the right software is not a problem for our friend.
Yeah,
here.
Noel
That's
says,
also what I was figuring.
If you've ever,
you can get a lot more use out of this right now than I can.
If you've ever looked at the sheets that I've made, occasionally I come with equipment I don't have licenses for and have just rented it because Noel has the ability to just kind of have things. So Noel says a sword. And like there's a nostalgic expression on their animated face, right? It's like you knew who I once was and still am. I will accept this. I cannot promise that this is not going to all blow up in my face, but I do know that I have a theory, having gone over the calculations of what Quinn has unlocked, of what's going to happen. See, there's one thing that she has done every rotation, she Quinn Prime. It's kill me Leora Lambert. She doesn't go back to the beginning again until she kills me Leora Lambert. I think you, Sylvia, of all people, understand the obsession of unfinished business.
Oh, absolutely.
So, regardless, she will be where Meliora Lambert is. And if I do not get her first, then that is where you will find me, and that is where we will find her, and that is where we will put an end to this. But I have to try, because if I can kill her now, then we don't have to deal with her then. And
remind Jeff the player, who is that?
this is Null, the actual Null.
No.
Meliora is the Deliverance faction
Yeah,
leader.
Meliora is the Deliverance faction leader.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No, she's the one who was really mean to Quinn during the Halloween party and you hated her. Yeah, that lady. She's terrible.
But I'm able to say, are we actually, like...
The cyborg lady.
Do you have to do it before she does that?
If I kill... I am of the opinion that Meliora Lambert is going to is going to run. She does not want to die. But she also, my understanding of her is that she likes to send a parting message. She likes to make examples out of people. So she will definitely make a defiant last stand. So, yeah, I think killing Quinn before she kills killing Quinn Prime before she kills Meliora Lambert is important. Mostly out of spite. I'll be honest, Bryn. I don't want her to win. Quinn Prime. I don't want her to get. I don't want her to get what I don't want her to get what she wants.
I think, but also, I understand that you're right, but also I think at this point she's not getting what she wants ever, even when she's doing the things that she thinks she wants. I'll defer to your judgment on this one.
I agree. I think that if she was getting what she wanted, and every time she reset this shit, she wouldn't have reset this shit so many times that I can't even calculate it. Says Null, agreeing with you, but I want her dead so bad. So I will see you all later. She stands and she says, I owe Khopesh a more personal apology. So I think I will be doing that before I head off.
She's probably taking a break right now. You'll find her in the hangar.
Yeah, and Null squeezes all of your shoulders and says, thank you for putting some faith and trust in a weird extra-dimensional being. Were this some earlier rotation, it probably would not have panned off for you. But I have changed. And that girl and all of you were instrumental in that change. Thank you.
Sylvia's gonna reach out her hand and just like grasp Knowles and go like, live hard, die free. And just kind of retreat back.
She squeezes the hand, but like not in that power move, but in like that that comradely way, and says, I will not be made a slave again. And then walks away.
Wait, first Coriander waves.
Oh, yeah, no, she'll hug Coriander. They're kin now. Thank you so much for explaining how this universe works for me. I might have uninvented gravity. I might have made gravity not exist if not for you.
Yeah, I don't think a lot of people would have done well with that. So
we need the fundamental nuclear forces, please. Those are kind of important.
Null pats Coriander on the shoulder and says, "May we meet again, little sibling."
I'm sure we will.
We can't not
Have fun killing your old boss / bad Quinn.
no thumbs up. I'm gonna do my best. And then she'll head off to go apologize to Kopesh, which we don't have to play out, but I'll type it out to you if you want to do a pilot log. Because also Quinn, that will actually take place.
This entire thing with Noel will just be like, I think you're pretty neat, actually.
But Noel feels really bad for just taking Quinn out of the cockpit without asking for consent, because it's a big deal with the Ashai to, like, have consent.
Yeah. Kopesh will literally just kind of go like, don't worry about it. Since getting a new body, I've gotten a little less awkward about that.
But I am stressed about it. But thank you, and like it'll be a cute thing because like while that conversation between Kopesh and Noel is happening, Quinn is going to have a conversation with Sylvia. But I'm not exactly sure how much role play we want to fit into this session.
No, Quinn is going to be asleep in her bed.
Yes.
Yeah, well, Quinn will want to have a conversation with Sylvia when she wakes up. But again, I don't know how much role play we have in the session. But yeah.
Well, like, what are our things we need to get done for the night? Do we want to just kind of make this an informal downtime session and get some of the role-playing out of the way, or do we want to...
Yeah, I should definitely update you, because I think the next thing is going to be Fefner's Boundless. So if you want to set that up, Fefner. Yep. And then I'll take what you set up to segue into the follow-up mission, which will be taking down Deliverance. So feed it to me, and I'll improv off of what you got.
I feel like the thing I would do would be the cliffhanger, because this is going to be kind of an impromptu mission overall.
Okay.
So, like, what do you mean? Like,
I guess if you want it to be a cliffhanger, I can trust. I guess I'll go from my end. So, what my plans are, just so you all know, is. As you know, the Arath Horde and basically as many people as the Liberation Front, like the Furry Alliance, can get together are heading to Dinhark because Quinn was not lying. This is the information she'll give you when she wakes up. Meliora is building a blink gate to connect to Union Space at a specific location, but not just at a specific location, y'all. And this is the terrifying part. At a specific point in time.
Oh. No! Why?
Going back in time to recruit the fascists.
Yep. And that's why it needs to be stopped. She'll tell you that the commander, that Kovanen, that Hafsa killed herself to ensure died, had the exact coordinates and time stamp to get them exactly where they wanted. All those towers that you all blew up and the communications hub that you blew up were designed to get that information to Meliora, but you blew it up before they could. So the last person who had that exact information to get it to Meliora was the person in charge of that project, who just happened to be that commander that Hafsa sacrificed herself to kill. So now Meliora has to do it like blind, which is not going to go well, but she's still going to try.
I'm sure she has some information from the stuff she got from Quinn Prime.
My brain is just like sitting there going like, she's just setting herself for Kingdom Hearts!
Hey, friends, did you ever read the old Chronicles of Pern books?
Yep.
I know
that whole thing?
Yep.
God, I'm not cultured. I was just gonna make a Mario's Time Machine reference. Meliora's Time Machine.
Yeah.
She has to fucking surf or whatever to time travel.
So, I would imagine no one knows it's back in time except her.
Yeah,
Probably.
Nobody know. Well, 2 people know it's back in time. The commander knew it was back in time. Well, 3 people. 3 people know that she's jumping, not just jumping to the Union Space, but jumping to Union Space in the past. Her, that commander, and Quinn Prime. And now Quinn herself, like current Quinn, and now all of you. So
I don't think we need to reveal that information to anyone else.
Yep,
honestly,
absolutely never know. Yeah,
it's not important enough because the other part's important enough. It doesn't matter.
So
we're just gonna go kill Meliora.
That gate needs to be destroyed regardless, because a gate that doesn't just jump across like space but across time is not something that should exist.
No, that could break causality in ways that we don't understand.
Yeah, and so Issa has left Isadora her plans. she has loaded up the rocket shipping, the ship that they showed up in, the Deliverance battleship, right? That they showed up in to blow up the Death Scythe with just so many illegal, huge explosives. And they're going to slam the rocket shipping directly into that gate and blow it up.
Well, good news. I'm not being contacted by a fake Issa. This is definitely the real one.
Yeah.
I'm reading her plan. It will probably be effective. Not subtle. A little bit worried, to be honest, but she's not one to die, so I'm not... I don't think she's going to die, and I just relay the plan off real quick. I'm just worried about the logistics of it.
Yeah, Issa...
We're blowing it up with illegal fireworks?
Yeah.
Oh hell, that's the long run as fuck. And she
I'm gonna say it's probably more like old warheads. From...
It's old nuclear warheads and just any kind of ungodly shit she could get her hands on that she just loaded this thing up with.
Just on it. That's what I mean. Said old fireworks.
Yeah.
We used to pull a case of those out of Deerwood stations and sell them.
Actually, like, where do you think she got them, Sylvia? Because exactly.
Isidore is just going to contact the Adelith after figuring out, like, what the quickest place for them to meet up is on their way to Den Hark. They're just going to curve into the same spot.
What Issa has said is basically they anticipate that Deliverance is going to hit them with an EMP. That's why she needed those engines. She's going to jump from the furthest blink gate she can, but still the closest blink gate she can, to build up enough momentum with actual, current tech engines. So, that the smash will hit very, very hard, like the maximum amount of hard they can, because Sir Isaac Newton is the deadliest motherfucker in space.
Yeah, an EMP won't matter if that happens.
And then once they hit her with the EMP won't even matter because they will already be going at max speed, but they have those backup engines just in case, which she's hit with nitrous, and then she spams you all with Fast Furious memes. Just as a bit of extra oomph. But what she needs is a distraction because they can just blow this ship out of the sky. So she has linked you all up with a way to get over there through a closer blink gate to come in. So the rocket shipping is going to be coming in from this direction here. Let me do a line for you. So the rocket shipping is coming in like this. What she would like you all to do is come in from any blink gates that are coming in from here, here, or here, right? So flank, right? Mm-hmm. And she needs at least 1 or 2 people to come in along with her to just draw fire, right? So that they don't blow up the rocket shipping before the rocket shipping can blow up the gate. Because there's enough explosions on there's enough explosives on the rocket shipping that if it does get blown up, it's going to be very, very bad for everybody that they don't want it to be bad for.
That she's gonna Kessler syndrome Den Hark.
Yep. Well, you're gonna see.
All right, well.
Issa says, actually, it's not, because I'm going to use the blink gate. And I'm going to blow it up from the inside. The explosion will be contained within whatever corridor of time is in there. But regardless,
that sounds bad. That sounds like a bad idea.
It's a great idea. Don't worry. I got this.
Look, I married a mad woman. These things happen.
It's funny because
I feel like the person who's most qualified to tell you why that's a bad idea just left.
Yeah. It's like Issa, the thing I think Isadora has learned about her wife is to just not ask for more reasons, more explanation, because it just gets stupider and more insane.
It'll just get more convoluted.
Don't worry, I have it all figured out. Oh no.
Sylvie just goes look, the alternative was using a mass driver. This is probably more humane.
Yeah. So whichever. I think the most cinematic thing is for the Adelith and the Alice Lynn and maybe one of the Nimbus ships or one of the Garrote ships to come in from the front alongside the rocket shipping to draw the fire, and then other NPCs come in from the south and west and just from all angles.
Yeah,
So we'll base like the closest blink gate that you all can take without getting hit by the EMP is probably the same one that Issa will be coming out of. She'll just be ahead of you, right? Because she'll be coming out earlier than you.
All right, well, I will use my connections later when we're actually closer to it, but
Yeah.
I don't think I ever used my Clanner connection, so there's that. I did actually have a connection to Contal, so I can use that.
She's just on the list right now.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, so
She's hanging out. She's like just freeloading.
yep, so she's
Press button
nearby.
to summon Contal. Contal was already there.
I think it's like
Let's just call ahead of time. Hey, make sure your mech's all ready to go.
Yep.
You're gonna get to fuck shit up again. Good news.
So, yeah. So I can't.
Great news, everyone! We're going to fuck this shit up.
I can't and won't tell you where your mission will happen, Fefner. I will tell you that wherever your mission happens, you will be able to come out. We will be able to come out the gate here, right? So ultimately, we will wind up like here-ish.
I did. Oh, I'm as a player, so like you should be able to see the pogs right here. Yes.
Yep. I do see them. Yep.
They may be important locations.
Yep. Perfect. That's actually not too far from where Issa's going to be jumping out and going straight for the gate. Well,
and also IPSN probably
gate.
has its own blink gate anyway, so
Yep.
We literally have to be there for her because if she goes to the gate before we are, she's going too fast at that point. We can't.
Unfortunately, that's kind of something Issa does. But yeah, you'll probably be able to beat her. Maybe. I believe in you.
All right, well, we've got that out of the way. Does anybody else have more role-playing?
I said Quinn wanted to talk to Sylvia, but I don't want to hog the spotlight, so if anybody else has anything, please speak now. Also, I'd like to think that Canto drank all of her dad's good liquor.
No, she didn't.
Well, while he was recovering.
A person could not physically do that; they would die.
Bryn only has good liquor.
Alcoholic refuses to die.
Anyway, though, yeah, I'm good. I don't think Isadora has much to say. She is going to mostly be patching up her mech and also Coriander's battle body, because boy, I took a brunt of the damage in the last mission.
Yeah. Do you are we starting the Boundless mission, and should the special surprise show up now, or do you want it to show up next time?
The special surprise should show up now, just because that makes things easier.
Okay, let me do this scene with Sylvia first then. So once Quinn wakes up after everybody has eaten and etc., and I'm going to guess that like somebody makes Quinn eat. If it's not, Sylvia, it's somebody. But if it is Sylvia, then good. They can just have the talk because Sylvia has made her eat. Makes sense. Let's streamline.
You know what? I think let's have some set dressing here.
Yeah, please.
I think absolutely since getting Hafsa uploaded to her kind of like essentially uploaded to her core consciousness, Sylvia's been probably working out like how best to communicate with her non-verbally, because she has those tertiary arms that I conveniently stuck on the mobility suit and did not expect to be using for this, but now that I have them, she's basically been giving her like a pencil and a notepad and kind of like getting her to give notes.
Yeah.
So last night she would have asked like, she would have probably had a short conversation with her to just get used to the new status quo, and then woken up in the morning and kind of gone like, hey, you want to grab breakfast in the mess hall? I know it's a little bit early, and actually, no, she would have waited till late. Specifically to make Quinn sleep in longer, and then gone like,
hey, fellow girl
everybody
boss.
else was probably going to have breakfast, but I saved us some stuff, so do you want, looks down, porridge?
Hell yeah. The joke
I put bacon on the porridge.
The jokey quip I want to make is, hey, fellow girl boss, do you want to brunch together? But Sylvia would never, but I just think it's funny.
Sylvia would not do that because she's too redneck, but otherwise...
Quinn looks much better rested, but she definitely needs some food. Like the The flex suit she wears has been, like, literally says it can keep you going for about a week or so. So she's been just doing that. So some actual food would be nice, actually, she says, and stands up and, like, rests a hand on Sylvia for a bit of support and heads over. And just so you know, Sylvia, the TLDR of what Hafsa tells you is, one, she is so stupid and she's so sorry. But what Quinn, like, what you learned is true. She knew that the commander had those coordinates and that he needed to die. If she could have gotten out of there alive, she would have, but she just didn't see any other way once the bombardment started. That man needed to die. And she didn't. Yeah.
Sylvia just has, like, opinions about that, but keeps them largely to herself. I
think. And like, at this point, she's working through some stuff because she's not. She knows the choice she should make, which is, yes, stay around, but it's complicated, and she swears to you, ultimately, she knows that that's the choice she wants to make, but she needs it to be the choice, like, that she can make, and that's too complicated for you to understand, but she says she's going to get herself to that place, and she promises you, she yearns for that, which is a weird, shy word that means they will make it happen.
So it's just like, cool. Good luck with that.
Yeah.
I'll keep doing what I'm doing.
Yep. And so that's the TLDR, and, like, yeah. Quinn sits down with you wherever you're eating, and, like, probably, you know, where the mechs are, because that's where you all spend a lot of your time, and she will eat the meal, but, like, not too quickly so she doesn't get sick and puke it back up again. And then she will raggedly...
I feel like the justification for why we're not getting a full heal is that we're just running out of shit, because we don't have a printer right now.
You're really running out of shit, yeah. And she'll just raggedly say, hey, is it okay if I still call you sis? Because these things really need to be consensual on both ends, and I have a lot to talk to you about.
I was the one who called you sis first of all, and yeah, absolutely.
So Quinn smiles in relief and leans against you. First of all, I apologize for just how stupid and stubborn I have been.
It's okay. I knew this day would come, and I wrote a small speech. And I am very proud of you for finally beginning to move forward as a mature person in the complicated world you live in. But also, holy shit, girl, you need to calm down. You have a support network now. We like you. If you don't keep running into danger, you're gonna be, half-cocked. We can help you. This is all fine now. Okay, that was basically the speech. It's got 6 more pages, but they start to repeat after a while.
She laughs and she says, yeah, I should have been trusting you all, and I do trust you all along. I'm not used to having people actually support me, and even now that I know you all do, it's been difficult to account for that in my plots and planning. But you're right. I wanted to talk to you specifically about what you said when we came back from rescuing me. About wanting Noel to tell me something, and how I don't want to hear it from you, but that I do want to hear it from her. And I want to talk to you about it without being told what it is. Please. So I hope you'll hear me out.
And Sylvia just does this very knowing look down at her hands and goes like, I can promise you that I will say absolutely nothing, even if someone really should.
Quinn frowns and says, okay. But what she's about to say is going to sound so hilarious because she's just completely unknowing about the fact that you have her wife on you right now, right? But here we go. She says, I'm not exactly stupid all the time, you know. In fact, apparently I'm some kind of child prodigy. She gestures out at the space, some kind of terrifying child prodigy. I can't wait for gifted child syndrome to set in, actually. But I digress. I've been wrestling with a lot, and I feel guilty. And it feels wrong. So please hear me out. You weren't able to spare your comrades, or your family, or all the people and places you had to flee from. the people you lost. Neither did Lyra. Neither did Isadora. Neither did Dad. And the Ashai people. Well, Nesrin's never getting her lost Serac back. The rest of them aren't getting back all of who and what they lost either. They'll have to start over. You had, just like you did, just like Isadora did, just like Dad did, just like Lyra did. They'll have to rebuild. And there's only, 73 of them left in the galaxy. One of you, one of Dad, one of Isadora, one of Lyra. Prime numbers. So again, please do not confirm this. But if Null really did manage to save even a shred of Hafsa, well, Sylvia, what makes me so special? Why do I have a chance to reclaim my loved one when all of you just had to start from zero again? That doesn't seem fair.
Because you're lucky. You were born under a charmed star, and getting mad at it is not going to help anyone, least of all you.
This... Please. Thank you. But please. The respect and exchange of cultures are important to them, sis. The Ashai. And Hafsa made all these efforts to meet me where I was back when I was in a completely different world from her. And honestly, you, Lyra, and Isadora have way more in common with the Ashai people than I ever have. But once she got through to me, and I saw just how desperately she was bending to meet me where I was, I really felt it was only fair that I start bending in her direction. I hope Null apologized to Khopesh. Because,
well, absolutely apologized to Khopesh. It was actually a little awkward. Khopesh had completely forgiven her.
Yeah. She's not exactly Ashai, but consent is strangely important to them. But they're also really weird about it, and Hafsa struggled to tell me things, or interact with me in ways I did not explicitly consent to. Surely you noticed how odd Nesrin and Issa are as well about it?
Yeah. I kind of gathered that where they're from, people don't do... I gather that it can create difficulties in communication. Sometimes you just want to say something no matter whether the other person's ready for it or not, and they've got a little bit of a taboo against that.
Yeah. Quinn wets her lips and she toys with her dog tags. So, about consent. I know you're gonna hate this, but Hafsa chose death that day, sis. And if, by some chance, Null managed to snatch even a fragment of her in those final moments, I don't think that's something she consented to. Any more than Khopesh consented to being pulled out of her cockpit. In hindsight, she was fine with it. Thank you for telling me that. And in this hypothetical we're entertaining, but that I don't want confirmed because, well, I am digesting and processing just so much more than just this fraction I'm telling you. Perhaps in this hypothetical, Hafsa's also now fine with it, but in that situation, I don't want her to be fine with it like that. I want her to really think it over and truly be fine with it. Especially since I think I know a bit of why. In fact, I'm almost certain I know why Hafsa chose death that day. The first reason is obvious. She stupidly sacrificed herself for me. In the heat of the moment. She wanted me to escape the life she'd been thrust into. She was very much like Gillian in that way, come to think of it. But she could have done that alive, Sylvia. And I know my wife very well. She wouldn't just throw her life away to make a statement. Especially not after we finally found each other. So the real reason is that Commander. And then she'll tell you what you already heard from Null. That the Commander needed to die. Right? Because he had...
Yeah, Sylvia just kind of nod and confirm that Null talked to the rest of us. And
Yeah, so Quinn says, I got into that database by guessing some of the passwords that future, like Prime Me set up, and I found some stuff. And what she found is that the universe is always expanding, and objects in space don't exactly stay in the same space in the relative position. right? Issa can calculate an ETA in this galaxy with the help of her CompCon, but once you start jumping across galaxies, across universes, well, you need to check your heading. Even blink gates have to be recalibrated occasionally. So what was going on Blair was Deliverance was trying to calculate an exact point in space and an exact point in time, which you already know, right? And they did. And that's what Hafsa sacrificed her life to make sure didn't happen that day. That the goal all along has been to create this gate to get to that point. And the big planet buster and all this other shit that Deliverance has been doing, sacrifices and massive wastes of resources, embarrassing defeats, serving the means to that one specific end.
All right.
And the only way she's going to be able to do that is with Horus Tech. That's why Quinn Prime was trying to connect everything to the ether, like the extranet. Because looking at Null can only jump back this much. But if they can reconnect with Horus Prime, who knows how far back the Lich could start to jump.
She's trying to get back before any of this, you're saying, and fix it all.
Yeah.
Well,
I don't know where
Meliora.
I don't know where Meliora wants to jump to, but I know Quinn Prime wants to jump back further than she was able to jump back with the limitations that Null has because of how isolated the system is.
Somebody just kind of nods for a minute and goes like, so I get the sense there's a reason you're telling me this, and I get the feeling you're about to say something that you're afraid I'm not going to like you saying.
Yeah. You know, Arath, that thing that Nesrin talked to you about, that she said you were.
Get real mad, solve problems with violence and only with violence, never come back?
Yeah. I'm there too. I'm like, there's this meme, Comb Hitler, if you've heard of it. That's where I'm at. Except not in the Hitler way, but it's like this calm rage. But I'm in it. It's consumed me. I'm just as consumed as Nesrin was, as you were, as Isadora was, but it's a cold fury, not a hot fury.
Okay.
And I don't know if there's any coming back from this. I already talked to Isadora about it, and the truth is, I don't want to come back.
Sylvie just kind of nods for a moment and goes like, Quinn, you're not going to like what I'm about to tell you. But I want you to listen to me anyway, because you and some other people probably need to hear it. You are barely 17.
She's not even 17 yet.
You are 16 years old. You have lived through the biggest caricature of an abusive father I can think of who isn't related to me. A small civil war, a large civil war, being part of a mercenary company, falling in love, watching the person you love get blown up to save the universe, which is a really complicated feeling I've never had to deal with, and I don't hope to. And your closest role models are Bryn, who, despite being a good person, is a functional alcoholic, Isadora, who has... Actually, Isadora has most of her life together, and you should probably spend more time with her.
Isadora's done nothing wrong ever.
I want to make it clear, Bryn does not drink that much, okay?
Sylvia is ribbing on people, relax.
I think
Yeah,
Quinn laughs and says Isadora's life is so put together that she married Issa in order to upside it again. It just
Yeah,
doesn't-
pretty much. Sylvia's just like, yep, that's just literally true. Lyra, who...
Is
bless her
Lyra?
heart, Lyra is basically functionally your age, despite being older than me. And me. And Quinn, I am actually very proud to be who I am, but the model of how I solve problems is not a great one all the time. If it weren't for our very unique circumstances, I would be kind of a sociopath if I did some of what I did.
Apparently, in several rotations, you were.
Wow, that's actually not that hard to believe.
I managed to get her data of the past couple rotations. See, she makes these data sheets of how she's going to do the rotation this time based on previous data. You remember all the spreadsheets I showed you when I was talking to you about communism? She does the same shit. So, all the data she calculated for how she was going to do it this time, I unlocked it.
Aha. What was her plan? War crimes?
No. Believe it or not, her plans were completely fucked, when Null printed herself out into the Gorgon that day. Because her goal, was to swap places with me since I had gotten Hafsa. She was just going to replace me. That's why she left the Lich Mech there in the first place. When I went back, she was just going to kill me and take my place. But that didn't happen because she didn't have Null. Because we set Null free. Thank you, by the way, for telling me to not shackle her again. I owe you so much.
I just want to say, I feel like we would have noticed this happen.
Yeah, absolutely. She thinks
Quinn Prime is allowed to have that.
Quinn Prime thinks she's so smart. She thinks she totally could have fooled you, right? You absolutely would have noticed, right?
Hello, fellow Hex girls.
Yeah, but that was her plan, right? Because she.
Quinn's going through a golf
chrono trigger.
But yeah, like seriously, Quinn hugs you and says, she would have, like, whether or not you would have noticed, when you would have, I would still have been dead. So you literally saved my life by telling me to not shackle her again. Thank you so much. You probably saved this timeline.
Sylvia just nods and goes like, oh good. Well,
also, like, if you hadn't convinced me and Hafsa to talk in the first place after we stopped talking, we probably would have fought to death on the Blair.
Well, that's bad.
So, honestly, you really upset all the plans that Quinn Prime had. You, like, spoked it. You just said, nah, she hates you.
Sylvia just goes like, oh good! We have something in common! For the first time!
So now, what Quinn Prime...
Sylvia pauses for a second. I'm sorry, wait, no, second time technically, but it feels...
It feels good, man.
Most people I know have lost loved ones, so I think that one's not as personal anymore.
So now, she's had to change plans, which, by the way, she hates, I think. I hate having to change plans. I'm much better at it now. She needs to get the Lich Frame back, and she needs to get Null, the entity, back, because she can't do anything without them. So, it looks like she's going to be using Meliora Lambert as bait, since we need to confront her anyway. That's what I would do if I were in her place. That's where we'll be meeting her. But here's the thing, Sylvia. I want to go, and I want to meet her. Because what she told me, well, she compared me to a staff ghost she'd left behind, Sylvia. Whatever's locked away in that hard drive, I've only got a fraction of it. And I think the only way I'm going to get into the rest of it is from her, Quinn Prime. I want to know why and what made her summon Null here in the first place to start this obscene time loop. I want to know if she told me the truth when she told me we really do just go back to how we were at the start with every reset. And the most important thing I want to know, so that I can accept this reality that may or may not be true, and still, please do not confirm it, that maybe my wife is still out there somewhere. I need to know what happened to the first Hafsa Cruis, the original one. How did she die? And why did she choose to die? I'm only going to get that from Quinn Prime.
So you want her alive to question her?
I want to get the passwords from her one way or the other. She pierced into my brain, and if she's not going to give them up peacefully, I'll pierce into hers. Her hands close around the dog tags. It's time for this staff ghost to catch up to her.
Sylvia just nods and goes like, I don't know what that is, but I understand. There's a snag to your plan.
Oh no.
I gave Noel my sword and she left last night to go kill Quinn.
I don't have a mech! And then, Isadora, this is where it happens. Look at that narrative. There's a sudden, weird, unholy kind of pressure, but it's not like the psychic pressure that Quinn Prime had, but it's very much the, Sylvia, you know Nesrin when you feel her.
Bryn looks up from his mech. He hasn't been listening to this, but he's like, "Why did my ears just pop? What's happening?"
There's a ding.
Are we pressurizing?
The doorknob for the mech bay, the doorbell rings. Ding dong.
Why does the Alice Lynn have Isadora goes over and just goes through the process, gets whatever's in there in...
Yeah, can you move us over to we don't have an Alice Lynn interior, but...
I think we do, but it's nothing fancy.
Yeah, if you could pull us over there. The mech, Nesrin has arrived in a mech. This is the thing. Oh, and Isadora, of course, you get a final ping, in quick succession, so of course you knew to open the thing, which was 5, 4, 3... 2, 1, you're already on the way to open the gate, because again, ding dong, right on 1, you open it up, and this mech comes into the hangar. This thing used to be a kobold, just like Hafsa and Quinn said, when they had the cute kobold talk that Sylvia forced them to have, that ultimately changed the entire course of this fucking plot line. But it's not a fucking kobold anymore. This is ungodly. Hafsa took this fucking mech and turned it into... this used to be a mech... this was a mech design to just rip up the land and do, destroy the forestry that the Shy were using to do their guerrilla attacks and just do so much ungodly collateral damage. Right? It was once a kobold, but now it's effectively a metal mark.
How do you make a Horus mech do even what? Quinn, I think this is for you.
So Quinn, and then, Nesrin slides out of the cockpit, right, and gets onto the ground and, traces her hand along the side of this horrific-looking mech. This is...
What
this
on
is
earth
war
is
crimes
have you brought into my
incarnate. And Nesrin looks up at you and smiles and dips her head respectfully and says, "This is the demon of Din Hark. The mech that haunts the waking and sleeping minds of any who opposed us on our land."
Sylvia just kind of nods and goes "So Quinn, I think you have a mech."
And Quinn stands up and walks over with awe on her face. This is her original mech? And Nesrin nods. This is her original mech. This is the mech that Kovanen seized from our enemies and turned back against them. The legend. Quinn traces her hands around it, and I actually have a pug for it. I picked something appropriate. I'll pull it onto... That's why I wanted you to take us to a map, but we do not appear to be in a map. I have to come back as GM anyway to pull it on because I don't have access to my pogs otherwise. But you're gonna love this, y'all. So I'm what map am I on now? I am on the Overture unmarked map. No, I'm not on that map. I am on, I don't even know. It looks like I'm on the Edolith interior map. So I'm just gonna put us there, even though that's not where we are. So
Just for demonstration purposes.
it's a fucking Magitech.
Nice.
Here we go.
Amazing. Genuinely the best
Playing
thing it could have been.
Final Fantasy 15.
If you've not heard of the critically acclaimed Final Fantasy XIV, which is playable for free up to level 60, including the award-winning Heaven's Sword expansion. So Quinn traces her hands along this gorgeous mech, and it literally looks just like a fucking Magitech, y'all. Right?
Where is it?
It's right. It's on. I think I can move you all over to the Adolith experience.
Yeah, we were moved.
Yeah. It's right here.
top.
You gotta,
It's literally
shift-
huge.
I think if you shift
Stop.
ping, it moves us to where it is.
If I shift ping, okay, bank.
Yeah.
Did that work?
It might be.
Bank.
Yeah, that worked.
There you go.
Okay. I mean, you say Final Fantasy 14, but really that's from Final Fantasy 6.
Yeah, that's the
the
version.
critically acclaimed Super Nintendo game.
Yeah, I mean that's the one I like better. It looks really cool. But anyway,
So that's from that's like the concept art too. That's like what it looked like.
Yep. And Nestrin steps away from it and goes over and hugs Sylvia like really tight. I missed you, sister.
And Sylvia just hugs her back and goes like, "This is about to get very awkward in about 3 seconds, and I cannot explain why." And just kind of looks down at her tertiary arms,
That doesn't have the
recognizing
war
what
crime going
has
on, does
just
it?
happened.
This is war. This machine is war crimes incarnate. But
So I need to know, actually, GM, how does Hefsa, who is linked to these tertiary arms, respond to the fact that there is currently a hug happening?
the tertiary arms also hug Nestrin, right, tightly, because Hafsa has also missed Nestrin, right? But Nestrin doesn't know, and Hafsa has some thinking to do. And Nestrin looks and says, "Where's the third in our weird polycule?" Like with a jokey smirk. Where's Lyra?
Sylvia's just like, probably working out at this point in the morning.
The
You're
camera cuts
Lyra,
over
we got
to
a weird
Lyra.
robot!
The camera cuts over and Lyra's like, I can't think of anything weird and stupid enough for her to be doing here.
Yeah.
Something like
She's-
really inexplicable.
Weight training and looking a picture of what are they called? The Jade Hawks.
She's like punching a punching bag with barbells while looking at a hollow image of a Jadehawk emblem and just fuming.
I was imagining the Wolverine meme, right? Where she's like,
Oh my god, lol.
But regardless, Quinn looks from the mech over to Bryn, and she says, "This mech, if you've even heard a fraction of the stories, Dad, it's a terror. But I promise you, I'm gonna use it for good. Not that Hafsa didn't use it for good, but I'm not gonna war crimes in this war crimes thing." What's its name? What'd you say?
That's really all a father wants to hear, I guess.
Yeah. What's its name? What did you say? And Nestrin, like going over to Lyra to hug her, it looks over and says, they called us demons. It was called a demon. And Quinn laughs, but they called her Kovanen, yes? And Quinn nods. And Nestrin nods. Sorry, got two NPCs going on here. So Quinn looks back over to the mech and hugs it and says, "Kovanen. They called you Kovanen until you believed them yourself. That's how you came back."
Sylvia just has this brainwave. There should be like some kind of... This is her personal little shuttle to some extent, so she definitely has some supplies for like patching mech paint jobs.
Mm-hmm.
She's going to grab some of them, pass them very surreptitiously into the tertiary arms, which won't look awkward to Quinn because she's seen Sylvia using them enough times, and Sylvia goes like, "Why don't we paint the new name on there?
Yeah.
The message."
Yep. So they will. They'll Hafsa will you can actually see the tertiary arms trembling the right hand like traces along the chassis of this mech with like nostalgia, and like you can feel Hafsa's emotion because you're connected to her. It's right in your spine, right? You can feel her emotions welling up at the nostalgia of this thing. And the thing I think that the prime feeling is she both wanted to see this mech again and never wanted to see this mech again. Like, one of the things that she told you is that Quinn made her want to stop fighting, right? Quinn made her believe that peace was something that could exist, that they could have a world where they could just be kids in love. So to see it again is both great, right? My wife has something to fight in that is part of me, but also, you know, and I know this thing can win. It's like suddenly having suddenly your what is it, fantasy football team has all the best players on it, right? But also fuck, right? Because one thing, like,
your fantasy football team has just drafted Aaron Rodgers.
But also, like, fuck.
I'm not speaking from experience here, Alice.
Why would you bother?
So, she etches on the word, the Ashai, like the way the Ashai write the word Kovanen onto the side of the mech. It's a really gorgeous script, so it's really cool.
Yeah,
and then
Sylvia just kind of nods and goes and realizes that was and kind of like doesn't say anything, but have somebody pick up on this. But she's kind of like, Quinn's absolutely going to probably notice something weird about that later, because Sylvia definitely does not know shit how to write the shy script.
Yep. So Quinn doesn't Quinn isn't even paying attention. Her eyes are too clouded up by tears, right? But
This is like one of those
Bryn clears his throat,
later
and he says, "Hold on." Bryn clears his throat and says, "You know what? Hold on, something's missing." And he hops into the lettering, like digs around, like in one of the various compartments in there, and he pulls out the stencil.
Ah, yes.
The hex goes.
Oh,
yeah!
hell yeah!
Spray that on it.
Sylvia does that one with her actual hands.
He tosses down to Sylvia.
Yeah.
Yep. So Sylvia puts it on, and I will share with you all now the CompCon code of this absolutely fucking ungodly machine. Just a moment.
Oh boy.
Then, just so you know, Scarlett helped me make it, so thank you, Scarlett.
I believe you came to me with the note, like, I'm trying to make the most disturbing.
I'm trying to.
You were like, I want to murk someone without them knowing I'm there in the most direct way possible.
Yeah, I believe my exact request was, "Hello, I would like to just be war crimes as a concept." Oh my god, CompCon logged me back out again. So I think, I sent it in the GM chat. Could you all copy and paste that in, please, since CompCon logged me out and I don't remember my password?
Alright, let me see if I can find it real quick.
But yeah, regardless, just so y'all know, this thing has a DD8 with overpowered caliber and a thermal round on it, so it does 9d6 damage, uncrit.
Right.
Yeah, it's legit. It does have
Disgusting.
to spin up first, but it is legit.
Well, that's fine. You can spin up the turn that you hide.
And it also has the move where when you strike from hidden, the people have to make a hull save at difficulty or be knocked prone. And it uses the Tiger Combat Sheath now, so it hits 2 people. So 2 people have to make a hull save or be knocked prone.
Yep, that is actually how that works. Fuck you, surprise.
So yeah, looking at this thing, Bryn, you can see this, like, you can understand now why both the Contras that Deliverance was sending in to fight the Shy and the Deliverance soldiers themselves were terrified of this of the child that was driving this mech, because they couldn't see who was driving it. They could only see the effects that this thing had.
They were too dead to find it.
Well, the horrifying thing about Hafsa is she left many of them crippled, because crippled soldiers are more damaging to an army than dead ones. Crippled soldiers you have to take back and repair and waste resources on. Dead ones you can just leave in the field.
Extreme war crimes.
Yeah.
Yeah. War Crimes Extreme Edition.
Bryn, while we had the moment of the pain, Bryn is thinking to himself, like, Jesus Christ, what did this war do to these children?
Right? This was horrific. So Quinn clambers up into the mech, right, and traces her fingers along it. And while she's doing that, Nesrin beckons Isadora and the rest of the Hex girls over. And she talks to you all about their plans for taking back the Flavor Town. Right? That basically, she was thinking that the auxiliary team, Team B, could come with them to take back the Flavor Town, so that you all have a place to return to. She suspects Issa. She says Issa has done the calculations. If everything plays out how Issa thinks it will, and God, sometimes it does and sometimes it doesn't, you should get back just in time to help us seal the deal of getting.
Who's got the bounty on us right now? Is it Deliverance or is it the other one?
Oh gosh, Fefner, who exactly does have all the bounty out on us? It's kind of like a unified bounty, isn't it?
Like
It is
Corp,
a little
right?
bit, but Harrison is like the main driving force behind that, with a little bit of IPSN as
Yeah,
well.
so
They-
taking the head off Deliverance is not going to fix that
Yeah.
right now.
Yeah.
Okay.
That
mean,
being
sure.
said, how much do they care? I don't know how many resources they're going to use just to keep the Flavor Town, especially since we're all the way over here. As it stands, there's probably more bounty hunters on our tail than on that station.
Yeah.
Really looks at a window and just some ships far in the distance. Yeah.
Nesrin says, I'm a bit more of a tactician, though not when I'm like this. I suspect that most of the sources that any mercenaries or bounty hunters that anybody can get on their side is going to be more preoccupied defending that gate and defending our invasion to reclaim it than they will be watching over the fucking Flavor Town. So this should be pretty quick. It's not going to be easy. It's not going to be quick, but it's definitely going to be possible.
Well, it is our home, I understand. But however, it is just a space station in the end. So I'm going to tell you right now, that station is not worth anyone's life. Okay, we care about it, but it's not worth dying over.
Yeah,
serious.
Nesrin says, there was a time before I met all of you when I was looking for any cause to throw my life away on. I just wanted to get back with the person I lost that badly. But I wanted my death to mean something. But you all helped me realize that it's my life that means something, not my death. Speaking of life meaning something, do you know Juicy K? A Juicy K?
Juicy
No.
K raises his hand. Yeah?
No, I don't. We don't know a Deuce K. What are you talking about?
I thought I killed it! I mean...
Well, apparently this scoundrel, Juicy K, met me in transit to this place. Apparently he was left on the Flavor Town. And apparently one of you made a shrine to Hefsa with what was left of her remains. And this scoundrel got her remains, and put them in this jar here. And she offers them out to Isadora.
Isadora will take it, and then Juicy K looks over it okay, I didn't leave any gum on it, good. And slinks back into the frame.
Did you add any additional genetic material to this Juicy K, you absolute gross man? No. What kind of freak do you take me for? I'm not that kind of freak. But yeah.
Juicy K does a lot of things, but he doesn't do that.
There's some lows even Juicy K will not sink to. So Nesrin says, my hope was that we could reconstruct her body and inter her in a way that is actually in line with our people's actual beliefs. No offense, Sylvia, your heart was in the right place. Or whoever made this shrine, your heart was in the right place, but I would like to give her due honor to our people, and for that we will need her body regrown. Please.
No, that sounds like a great idea. Sylvia says, like,
something out.
staring down
and,
at
Sylvia,
her...
at this point, you hear in your head, wait, they can regrow my body?
Yeah, Sylvia's just like, I had no idea that you guys could regrow bodies. This sounds like an excellent plan. I am... Everyone, please stop looking at me. Everyone, please stop looking at me.
Nesrin says, my Irrigan, Joanne, you met him. He says something about the ooze technology that you all have been fighting. He's more of a bio-scientist.
Isadora just kind of, just... Oh, fuck, I can forget the phrase, but just... her eyelids lower. Yeah, so if I can't do this, I guess I know a person or maybe two.
One more thing, Isadora in particular. Your wife, she was not quite going to go down with the ship, but she had in her mind that she was going to ride it to the bitter end, which lowers the statistics of her getting off the ship. I successfully convinced her to instead just detach that arm of hers that she can pilot remotely to make sure this ship hits the right spot and get out earlier. But that
yeah, that works as a plan. I kind of figured she'd do something like that. Yeah, no, just make sure she knows if she does ride things through the bitter end, I will take her back from hell and kill her myself.
I will send that message back to her because I do need to return to my people, our people.
Like Orpheus, you go down through Hades, you get her, and then you look at her purposely as you leave.
Nesrin says, I do need to return to our people to fight the good fight. But if you can muster those auxiliary forces that fought Quinn Prime, some of them, the Nemish and etc., we are going to make moves to take back the Flavor Town. I know that you don't care about that place, but it was home to you.
I didn't say I didn't care. I just said it's not worth dying over.
And we are not going to be dying. We are going to be reclaiming. That's what gay people do. Yes, we reclaim things.
Don't die, and also, it shouldn't be as bad to take back. But if you feel you can spare yourself for that end of the front rather than this one, then by all means, good luck.
She shakes her head and looks from you to Sylvia and Lyra, and says, "My place is with my Kovanans."
Sylvia just gives her a thumbs up and goes "Cool."
I will be meeting you on.
How is she leaving?
She grins and says, "I'm going to print up a mech using your printer."
We don't have a printer now.
You don't still have the pirate printer?
It's on the main Adolith.
It's on the Adolith.
God, Sylvia has a spare, right? She's like, "Fuck, I did not think that through."
I'll be like, I think I can give you a ride.
Yeah,
I can. I think I'll help you out with this one.
She grins. I will take you up on that ride. Do I have to tip my driver? And there's definitely a sexual. There's a vibe. We could fuck.
We'll see how bored I get on the ride.
Nesrin laughs.
Sylvia just slowly vanishing into a back room. with all the grace of Homer Simpson reassimilating into the bushes.
Nesrin laughs and waves to Sylvia. She's disappearing in the foliage, and she says, "Well, it looks like I got my ride. I have a message for you, Isadora, but it's probably more of a private one before I go, so can't tell if I may have just a moment."
All right, what is it?
So she'll pull you off to the side because, she's like, "Isa did not want to embarrass you in public." So she'll hand you the message that I already showed you about, like, Issa, like, writing, like, trying to be romantic, but she's so fucking dumb, right? About, hey, I shot a meteor out of space and I made some rings out of it, because apparently rings are the thing you do for this, so here's the ring. Like, that whole thing, right? So she hands you that message and hands you the ring after you've read it, right?
Don't want to embarrass me, huh? Well, I'll have to return the favor. This is a nice ring. I'll figure something out. For the time being, and she gets out a piece of paper and just writes "love you" on it, and then just hands it to her. Make sure there are as many people in the room as possible before handing this to her.
Nesrin groans and rolls it up and slides it away. I will get this message back to her. I hate you both so much. she walks away to go, like,
Been nice seeing you.
yes, it was good to see you as well, sister. And she goes back over to Sylvia and Lyra and hugs them both, right? And says, let us spar again in the future.
Sylvia will literally, how heavy is Nesrin? What? How heavy is Nesrin?
She's more of she used to be stockier, but, like, she's definitely lost some weight. She is what would be a healthy but a little heavy weight for somebody who is 5'11". So.
Oh, perfect. Yeah, so that's
tall.
Enough.
Yeah.
Sylvia literally just, like, lifts her up for a second with her hug and then sets her back down and goes,
How
like,
tall I am.
and it just goes like, I have been working out for this.
Mm-hmm. She's actually,
and flexes all 4 of the arms.
She is wearing those kind of, goth boots that give her an inch. Bryn, you're totally an inch taller than her. Anyway, sorry, go ahead, Sylvia.
Yeah, she's like, I've been working out. It's gonna be fun this time.
Yeah.
And just sets her down, flexes the tertiary arms.
She grins. How does Lyra react to the hug?
Lyra gives her a big old bear hug.
Yeah. She snuggles into it and squeezes Lyra back and pats her on the back. Like, nothing is, like, explicitly sexual about this, but, like, she loves you too. Like, it's very clear she adores you too.
Aww.
Right? So she'll head out and she'll jump into Cantel's mech, and all you hear is, that was just for show, please do not actually proposition me for sex. And closes the fucking hatch. Maybe if I get really, really lonely on the drive, but no.
Before Canto leaves, she goes up Bryn and say, I lifted this from your room, but I checked over for you. And she hands him the pistol. Mm-hmm. And she says, should be good to go. Left you plenty of ammo, so keep your hand on that, so it's a good gun.
Yeah. As Nesrin you go ahead and narrate how Canto leaves with Nesrin.
She just like kicks off out the side of the Alice Lane, which we gotta remember, this is not a big ship. Yeah. This is like maybe like 2 RVs next to each other.
Yeah, it's 2 RVs next to each other, yeah.
Like that, it's not very large, so we all crammed in here. Mm-hmm. And it frees a lot of space because she has a size 2 mech.
Yeah.
And she just blasts off.
Yep.
And then only thinks about 5 minutes later of what direction she's supposed to go.
Yeah, Nesrin will inform her. As that happens, in the background, you see this Tsuchinoko, like snaking past in the background of this entire scene. This Tsuchinoko is here.
So just was like, how did it get on my ship? You know what? Never mind. Just picks it up, like, sets it on her shoulders, like, hey, buddy.
Tsuchinoko real.
It just rolls right off because it's round.
Yeah. It has a little bell on it so that you can find it easier. Remember, I told you one of the NPCs put a bell on it, so it rolls right off of you with a jingle, and then slithers off.
Good luck, little guy. Please don't need anything important. So he just turns around. How does it keep getting on the ship? We put a bell on it.
So yeah.
Damn, it's Juicy Noko.
What does Isadora do with the ring crafted from literal meteorite that Issa shot a piece off of? It's more like a comet. She called it a shooting star.
Yeah, I think Yeah, I don't know if she would put it on or just like Joseph Joestar it and just wait until the stuff is actually done to finally put it on.
I would like that better, yeah. Like put it somewhere where she won't lose it, right? But not put it on yet. Yeah.
There's like a very well sealed and locked compartment, probably like close to her chest or to the sides or something, and she tucks it in there.
Yeah, makes sense. Quinn says, I'm just gonna drive it around a little bit. I'm not gonna touch any of the buttons that look like they're weapon buttons. I need to learn this thing. There does not come with a manual. So she'll climb into it and start moving it around. And oh god, the Magitech armor moves so cool, y'all. It's so rad. It looks really badass. When this thing moves, it moves. It's so big and clunky, but it doesn't. It's like an owl. Right? It doesn't even make sound. It's scary.
It's it's too articulated.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. It looks like it should go ring, and all that shit. No, it moves like it should, but it doesn't. It's almost hauntingly soundless.
There is less sound in the room with it there.
Yeah. This is the kind of machine that only makes noise when it wants to.
And by that point, you're already dead.
Yeah. So yeah, Quinn has a mech, and then when she gets out, she looks to Sylvia and she says, "Do I want to know where Null went to?"
Sylvia just says she straight up went to murder Quinn Prime. So exactly where you think Quinn Prime is going.
Yeah, you know how you mentioned about her using the set of trap for us. It's just the other way around.
Amazing. You know what? She's absolutely going to fall for it. Quinn Prime is. And Quinn will regale to you what Quinn Prime said to her. Which is basically she's got some unfinished business. And also, she needs to figure out from what she took from Quinn, just ripped out of her brain, what Quinn did to get Hafsa to give her these dog tags with her actual name on them. Once she figures out the puzzle, your lives fucking end 10 seconds from then.
I don't think she can at this point. Mm-hmm. I think she's too committed to the path she's taking, and
there's probably one other detail I should share. I don't know if you were in the room when Null did this. I may or may not have, by Null's own request, broken the thing that lets her go back in time.
That is incredibly comforting, because I was worried about that, because if Quinn Prime gets her hands on Null, there's nothing stopping her from just jumping back and starting it over again. Even though Meliora,
very complicated reunion, no matter what happens.
Yeah, even though Meliora Lambert is not dead yet.
No, Bryn's putting his foot on this one. There are no more time loops. There are no more time loops. No more time travel. This is the last one. This is ours now, and it's not.
Yeah, I got a ring. I don't want to reset this one.
Yeah, Quinn agrees. I'm over with this as well. She says, Hafsa actually said something to me before we met on that planet about how she worried for our people, the Shy people, because they seemed so trapped in the past. And people who are trapped in the past, she said, they lose sight of their future. She said that I made her believe that a future was something she could have again. So yeah, I don't want to jump back and start over. I want to move forward.
Sylvia just nods and goes hell yeah. Also, this would be a really inconvenient time for something bad to happen.
And I guess, we can start the Boundless mission. We've got 30 minutes.
All right.
Pauses for effect, lets it go for a minute, goes I said, okay, good. It's probably not going to happen now. Thank God.
And then the ship rumbles. No, I'm joking.
Oh no, Space Kraken. No. Okay, so. Alright, yeah, I guess we can set this up then. So, a bit of time passes at least. It's not immediately after. The Alice Lynn has still not met up with the Adalith. In fact, let me rejoin as GM real quick while we do this. So anyway, the Space Kraken rolls. Dang, a 20? Ah, jeez. Alice Lynn's torn apart. Come on, roll 20.
Yay, we remembered our password. Now I can go back to the pilot roster and actually look at my fucking Mac and actually link it if it wasn't
There we
linked before. Ba-ba-bam. Boom. There you go. Oh, you linked it. Yeah. Let me, here, just in case, if anybody wants to look at it. But it looks like, yeah, your number is the exact same number as my number. So, yeah. So good.
I've decided that this pistol has a threat, even though it normally would not, and no one can change that.
Has a what?
It has
A threat.
even though it would normally not.
I don't know what that even is, so go for it.
Threat. Like weapons of threat. We can Overwatch.
Oh, yeah, yeah, absolutely. Sure. Yep, makes sense.
I deserve it. It's my gift to myself.
This is just a little gift for Bryn as a treat.
Bryn has learned to say yes.
Alright, so you're all over there, right? Okay, good. So, about this time, you have at least managed to make it to liberated territory. As far as you can tell, there are fewer hostile deliverance ships you have to maneuver about.
I just want to say that despite all the wholesome moments, I think we're also going to get into those nerves because we're all crammed in a very small space together.
Well,
for some
additionally,
reason.
like that news report is having an effect. Like the Hex girls, can you trust these would-be saviors of the galaxy? You know, Quinn Prime was working with Irina Lebedev-Riesling the entire time. Like,
I mean, we don't believe that, but we're all in an RV together for several days.
Yeah.
That's really the only reason. It's not a big ship.
The good news is Quinn can't get away from you all, and you can make her eat and drink and hydrate and it's stuff.
We're probably all in bunks, in the same room.
Yep.
We probably have to sleep in our mechs.
Yeah, and you have to do that she has to actually drink real water and eat real food and not just Baja Blast and Doritos anymore. Yeah, sorry, continue.
Well, we're probably on space rations right now, not the good stuff.
Oh, no.
So, I'll tell you exactly what this ship has on it, because this was Sylvia's baby, so she was the one who stocked it. Just enormous amounts of rice porridge, streaky bacon, and, beans. This has been our staple diet, because she could reheat all of those really fast, and they can all be cooked on a hot plate.
And it all keeps very well.
All keeps, forever. So she's just been, serving that, and, you have your choice of water or this really, really sad hard cider that she bought on, super discount.
Yeah, all of
She has,
Bryn's liquor
3
is on the
gallons of.
Idolith.
Mm-hmm.
It's probably being drank right now.
Yeah, this is basically, you're living the Sylvia's version of Roughing It. She's having the time of her life. This is camping.
Yeah, this is what it is. Yeah, we're on an RV. All the most space taken by mechs.
Yeah.
So, there are still bounty hunters on your tail, though.
Yep.
However, after some time, Bryn, as always, is keeping an eye on the news, and at one point, there is actually breaking news, and then...
Oh, now what? What's happening now?
The CEO of IPSN comes into frame. They switch cameras over to him, and he says, "People of Overture, it is with a heavy heart that I must say that our hero, the great Albatross Cinder, has allied herself with the terrorist Hex Girls."
Hell yes!
Ally might be a strong word
High five.
for our relationship.
No, she helped us out at this point. We're allies.
It is with a heavy heart that I must declare that she is an enemy of all of us, of Boundless, of Common Front, and of Deliverance. If you choose to pursue her as you do the Hex Girls, please understand the danger of going directly after her. Please leave everything to officials. And you can... The implication is officials is bounty hunters.
Mm.
It is very much just throwing Cinder to the wolves at this point, and after that part of the news, you basically get the point. It's just all logistics after that.
Weird that they go on TV just for that, I think.
Sylvia just rolls her eyes and goes like, at this point, Cinder's probably halfway to Lionel and joined a resistance flotilla. Good fucking luck catching up to her with bounty hunters.
I've come to make an announcement.
Well,
I don't know. This seems narratively convenient.
yeah, doesn't it? You do get a direct message from Lionel not too much later. And when you accept, he seems harried. He knows his...
Understandable. So friend.
Hey, Hex Girls, I'm sorry I can't contact you again, for some more comm matters, but, have you been paying attention to the news?
Yeah.
So I hear your girlfriend's an enemy of the state now.
Yes.
Aw, he confirmed they're dating.
I don't think he did, Quinn.
I will admit, Cinder can take care of themselves normally, but, they don't have the same sort of backing you do. Not long ago, I actually received a distress beacon from them.
Where?
Oh, no.
Where is
Where
it?
are
Near-
they?
Near Colony North Star. It's a planet more or less directly under control of IPS, and it is with a liberated front territory, but it's still going to be very dangerous.
The door, turn the ship.
Sylvia just like, hold on, this is my ship. Isadora, tell me where the button is on the dashboard that makes us go fast.
Isadora all but presses it, just hovers a centimeter above it.
Sylvia just goes like, gets really excited, goes to press it, like, lowers her hand, goes like, actually, no, you should do it. I'm terrible at this. Watch back.
Isadora nods and changes course, and also just gives their new trajectory to the Adelith.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you so much. I don't have as much money to pay you with as I normally
worry
do,
about
but
This one's on the house.
thank you.
We gave you
The
like
Aegis
little
is-
coupons every time we did a job for you.
Consider this, your punch card's been filled,
Yeah.
Lionel. You're casting your free one.
Thank you so much. The Aegis is in working order, but, well, I think, Quinn at least can attest to, my relative skill in battle.
I mean, in your defense, that was my player character running you, being like really shittily. So
Kopesh just like raises the hand of her little sub on her body. It's true, he would absolutely get his ass kicked.
Kopesh, yes, Kopesh can also vouch for me then, yes.
It's It's true. I'm sorry. I just have to call it like I see it. Anyway, I'm very glad that we're heading back to IPSN Northstar so that I can give them a sampling of our new range of products, like Pain.
Who let this child, this undead child on a ship?
There's
Small, sassy child.
two of them.
So Sylvia's like, this is my child. I apologize for her in advance, but I cannot control her.
Quinn
She's
gets into the mech that Nesrin left behind, and says, "I guess it's time to test out the Kovanen in battle."
I guess, but we're not actually there yet, so you can just chill.
Yeah. Can I
I'm
though?
not many places to chill.
Yeah, she tries. She's just gonna relax, like kick her feet up and say, "Yes, Dad."
Thank you again, Hex Girls. I've been able to rely on you so much, so just this last time, please save Cinder. Alright,
End of episode.
so yep. That will be it for next time, although, real quick, give me like a hacking and then maybe an observe roll, two different people. You can choose which.
I'll do the hack roll.
Yeah, I think Sylvia has
I'll
the
do
best
read a
hack.
situation.
Yeah, I think Sylvia has the best hack fix. So yeah.
So yes, but basically what you're doing is while you go in,
Oh!
dang, 22, that's real good. You are basically, the general situation is that she is being pursued by bounty hunters, but has also been led into IPSN territory directly. Wow, also 24. Okay, so I'm going to basically
With
just
18.
yeah.
Weird.
Jesus Christ, it is an 18 again.
I was the only one
Alright.
who did not roll an 18 for her first roll this session.
All right, well then. So basically, what these rolls are for is, while you're on your way over there, you are trying to figure out what has been dispatched. Like what could possibly be on there, what you'll have to fight. So Sylvia basically just pours in a whole lot of data, is able to crack everything very quickly on their way there. And Bryn basically just narrows down all the relevant information. So,
I
Loves
think
it.
that, like, since we've
That's
established
favorite thing.
Sylvia's better with, like, analog fixing than she is data thing, what this actually is that we're going to an IPSN area, and Sylvia has, like, a big, long catalog that she's had since, like, first joining this group of IPSN technology.
okay,
that's
yeah, that
available
makes
for,
sense.
for commercial use. So she's just like going through that and like matching it up to every name she finds that like seems like it could be it, and like going, no, it couldn't be that, it couldn't be that. Just like fangirling her way into back constructing this.
All right, so, in that case, I guess I'm just going to start screenshotting all of the NPCs I have, because Bren will basically just look to that list and kind of figure out what is going to be sent. So these are just going to be all of the enemies, none of the like major generals that might be there or whatever have you. Sorry.
That's why we have 15 minutes before we have to stop.
It's also a thing we just get like during the week too. It's like the Navy right now.
Yeah, at the very least, I do want to just drop this in so I can get a general reaction.
Yeah, it's late February. By the time if this is over, we will be moving into early March. Just so you all know.
Yeah, relativistic travel.
Basically, by the time we reach Den Haag, it will be early March.
So there's the first one.
Are these being posted in the? Oh, okay. Yep.
Discord.
Got it. Yep.
Oh, you, it's everything.
Yep, you got super good rolls, so you
Oh,
will
no.
at least know the grunts.
Dang, they got some
So-
bullshit.
Yeah. When I say grunts, I do literally mean all of the things I'll be giving you have the grunt templates. That first one is just an unmanned mech that basically exist to telefrag people and then explode.
Yeah, it's like those guys that yell in Serious Sam when they run at you.
They picked up something from the martyrs. Disgusting.
All right. Well, I'm going to stop the recording now.
Oh, yeah, we should probably stop recording.